Shabbat Shalom. How's it going? I have a story from my childhood. Yeah, you can be seated. Sorry, I forgot to tell you. You can be seated. You don't have to stand for the story. It's okay. When I was in second or third grade, I remember I was playing with a stapler. These stories always end well. And I accidentally stapled my thumb. And as you might imagine, it was very, very painful. I don't recommend it. And then my parents grabbed the tweezers, and they started to get to work. And as painful as it was to get my thumb stapled, it felt like it was so much more painful to get it taken out. And I stopped them, and I turned to my mom and dad, and I said, I'm thinking about it. I decided, just leave it in. It's fine. It's just going to be too much. And of course, they said, you're nuts. I know it's scary, but we're yanking it out. And that's what they did. But in my own way, I was trying to say, let's just be normal. Let's just go back to normal. Let's forget about what's broken. Forget about needing to fix it. We'll click our heels 3 times, and I'll wake up from this nightmare. But when things get messed up and things get broken, there is no such thing as back to normal. And this week, I know you feel the same. My heart sank when I heard about this active shooter at a Detroit synagogue. And some of my Michigan friends send their babies to daycare there. I lived in Detroit for a year. What does back to normal look like after that? We know there's another war in Israel right now. What does normal look like there? And what is the painful reality that we need to adjust to? This week, we read about the ancient plans to build God's sanctuary. And they put a man named Bezalel in charge, and he was chosen for his vision. In Hebrew, it's called Chacham Lev. He had a wise heart. And how did the design of the Holy Ark reflect that wisdom? The Talmud says the Holy Ark carried not just the beautifully carved 10 Commandments. It carried the shattered pieces of the original 10 Commandments that Moses smashed. And so every time they opened the Ark in the Holy Tabernacle, by design, it contained the whole Torah and the broken Torah side by side. Plans break, and expectations shatter, and whether it's a staple in your thumb or an attack in Michigan or Tel Aviv, our safety, our sense of security can evaporate. And the only path forward is to bring those broken pieces with us. We can't pretend we don't have a staple in the finger. We often have this instinct when we talk to someone who's sick or injured. When we check in, we like to answer our own questions for them. Have you noticed this? How are you feeling? You better? Back to normal. Like we're impatient with their trauma. Or we start sharing our medical expertise. That's curable, right? That's benign, right? You're going to be fine. There's a word for that. They call it toxic positivity. It's a real term. Toxic positivity. We're all going to be fine. Insisting on back to normal erases the moments when we've all been thrown off course. And it erases the long journey of finding our way back. This past week, I promise I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just trying to talk to you guys. But this past week, about a week ago, there were shootings at shuls in Toronto. On Monday, a synagogue was bombed in Belgium. On Wednesday, there was an attack in Greece. And 200 rockets were fired from Lebanon into northern Israel just on Wednesday. On Thursday, this synagogue attack in Michigan. And also on Thursday, an attempted attack at a shul in Norway. Yesterday, there was an arson attack at a shul in the Netherlands. In the past 7 days, there were more synagogue attacks than days in the week. Are we feeling okay? How could we be feeling okay? We can admit that so many of the headlines in the world today are not what we hoped they would be. Sometimes we have to admit that the headlines of our own life are not what we thought they would be. But we also must admit it's in our power, it's actually our responsibility to create something better with the broken pieces that we have. We know we have this tradition at the end of a Jewish wedding. We break a glass and it shatters. It's a very iconic. People who are not Jewish now break glasses. Do you know this? It's like so iconic at the end of their weddings. We know we have this tradition. There's now a trend that people like to do where they save that shattered glass and they turn those shards of glass into a Jewish art piece. And it becomes a beautiful symbol of this idea. We can't put the pieces exactly back where they were, but it's our responsibility to make the best of them. And if we pretend they're not broken, we live the rest of our life with a staple in our thumbs. We need to continue to get together like we're doing today and to do it both proudly and safely. We need to be vigilant about showing up for each other and taking care of each other. And we can't take our eye off the ball. And we will get through it again the way we've gotten through it before, by carrying both sets of tablets with us, the whole and the broken. When we build our sanctuary, we know this needs to be a place of both security and welcoming. And as impossible as it feels, when we look at what our community is facing, we have to be honest and say, we can do it if we all step up, but we have a lot of work to do. Shabbat Shalom.